These programs will explore opportunities through innovation and experiment that benefits on a local, regional, and international scale through sharing knowledge and experiences between AIS participating countries. In the year 2017, the Archipelagic and Island States Forum initiated. The Archipelagic and Island States Forum, or AIS Forum, is a designated platform to include 47 archipelagic and island nations focused in 4 thematic areas. Those are climate change mitigation and adaptation, blue economy, marine plastic debris, and good maritime governance. AIS Forum Secretariat has developed 3 programs that encourage innovations through research and development and entrepreneurship. Those are Joint Research Program, the Innovators Scholarship Program, and Innovation Challenge. We believe that the academicians play a big role in advancing R&D. Thus, we initiated the Joint Research Program between academic institutions to come up with breakthrough ideas that could bring benefit to AIS participating countries. In the second program, we will bring talented individuals through the Innovators Scholarship Program to come up with innovations that contribute to the economy of AIS countries. The scholarship program is a partnership between AIS Forum with universities from archipelagic and island countries. Last, in the light of COVID-19 pandemic, it is important for archipelagic and island states to have a resilient economy. Therefore, AIS Forum Secretariat introduces the Innovation Challenge, an idea competition to find business solutions that can help companies and societies at large withstand a crisis situation. Many solutions to challenges that affect AIS participating countries in 4 main thematic areas and SDG 14 goals are produced through collaboration programs. These programs will explore opportunities through innovation and experiment that benefits on a local, regional, and international scale through sharing knowledge and experiences between AIS participating countries. In the year 2017, the Archipelagic and Island States Forum initiated. The Archipelagic and Island States Forum, or AIS Forum, is a designated platform to include 47 archipelagic and island nations focused in 4 thematic areas. Those are climate change mitigation and adaptation, blue economy, marine plastic debris, and good maritime governance. AIS Forum Secretariat has developed 3 programs that encourage innovations through research and development and entrepreneurship. Those are Joint Research Program, the Innovators Scholarship Program, and Innovation Challenge. We believe that the academicians play a big role in advancing R&D. Thus, we initiated the Joint Research Program between academic institutions to come up with breakthrough ideas that could bring benefit to AIS participating countries. In the second program, we will bring talented individuals through the Innovators Scholarship Program to come up with innovations that contribute to the economy of AIS countries. The scholarship program is a partnership between AIS Forum with universities from archipelagic and island countries. Last, in the light of COVID-19 pandemic, it is important for archipelagic and island states to have a resilient economy. Therefore, AIS Forum Secretariat introduces the Innovation Challenge, an idea competition to find business solutions that can help companies and societies at large withstand a crisis situation. Many solutions to challenges that affect AIS participating countries in 4 main thematic areas and SDG 14 goals are produced through collaboration programs. These programs will explore opportunities through innovation and experiment that benefits on a local, regional, and international scale through sharing knowledge and experiences between AIS participating countries.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a very warm welcome to our lovely and important event from Archipelagic and Island State Forum, AIS program launching, and talk show on fostering collaboration for resilient island economies. The Archipelagic and Island State, or AIS Forum, is a platform designed to include 47 archipelagic and island states to identify and work towards actionable, concrete collaboration, partnership in addressing common challenges with 4 area collaboration: climate change, mitigation and adaptation, blue economy, marine plastic debris, and of course, good maritime governance. I'm Muhammad Ahir. I will conduct the event as your MC and the moderator. And along 2 hours, we will listen to 4 opening remarks from 4 remarkable speakers, followed by the official AIS program launching and the talk show with the 5 panelists. On behalf of AIS Forum, we would like to express our thanks and gratitude, especially to our colleagues who significantly contribute to this event is occurred. First of all, for Indonesia Embassy in Antananarivo, Republic of Madagascar. And then we would like to say thank you very much to all embassies, including AIS embassies in Jakarta, government officials of the Republic of Indonesia, and also AIS participant countries, academics, and private sectors. I'm delighted that we have with us today 4 remarkable speakers who will deliver their opening remarks for us. Now we are going to listen to the first opening remarks by Deputy Minister for Maritime Sovereignty and Energy Coordinating Minister for Maritime and Investment Affairs, Mr. Purbaya Yudi Sadewa. Mr. Sadewa, please.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for taking time to attend today's event, the AIS program launching and talk show on fostering collaboration for resilient island economies. I understand we have participants here today from across the archipelagic and island country network. So let me begin by extending my warmest welcome and thank you all to all in attendance here today. Before proceeding, let me first acknowledge the presence of Mr. Christopher Bahwe, the UNDP Resident Representative for Indonesia, His Excellency Owen Jenkins, the Ambassador of the United Kingdom to Indonesia and Timor-Leste, His Excellency Stephen Borg, His High Commissioner of the Republic of Malta to the Republic of India, Ambassador Solo Mara, Secretary General, Pacific Island Development Forum, Mr. Reveloman Soa Tanteli, Director of the Sea and Blue Economy, Ministry of Aquaculture, Livestock and Fisheries, Madagascar, Mr. Isaac Grace Charles, the Affairs of the Fiji Embassy in Indonesia, Mr. Riyad Medet, Senior Principal Advisor for Small Islands Developing States at UNDP Headquarters, and Professor Dr. Taufik Hidayat, Head of Partnership Bureau of Bandung Institute of Technology. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to wish you all a happy belated World Ocean Day. 2 days ago, 8 June 2020, we celebrated World Ocean Day, which I believe we are all connected to. This year, the theme of World Ocean Day is Innovation for a Sustainable Ocean. Our discussion today and also our work in the AIS Forum are very relevant with the above global concern. I will start by sharing a bit information about the establishment of the development forum called the Archipelagic and Island State Forum. The AIS Forum is designed as an open-ended forum that can serve as a development matchmaking forum. It is a collaborative forum that complements and strengthens existing forums through meaningful, innovative collaboration. It is also a tool for states and the international global community to focus available resources, knowledge, and expertise as a means to address development issues through the formation of smart and innovative solutions. As the custodians of vast areas of the world's ocean, archipelagic and island states, big or small, developed or developing, should play equal strategic roles in addressing sustainable development challenges and ocean-related problems. Archipelagic and island states should not be placed in strict, distinctive boxes that limit collaborative opportunities. Therefore, inclusive collaboration and innovative context-based solution shall be laid as a core principle that will guide the AIS Forum platform, as these principles are imperative for achieving long-term sustainable development. The government of Indonesia has been working closely with UNDP and the AIS Forum Secretariat to support collaboration between archipelagic and island states around the world. Under the Manado Joint Declaration Agreement of 2018 and the AIS Forum final outcome of 2019, the AIS Secretariat will support the AIS Forum in developing a strategy that includes several activities, such as knowledge sharing between the public and private sectors, as well as activities in identified high priority areas of development. Through these collaborative activities, the AIS Secretariat is implementing smart and innovative solutions in the four areas of cooperation, which includes climate change, mitigation and adaptation, the blue economy, marine plastic debris, and good maritime governance. Today, it is my pleasure to announce that the AIS Secretariat is launching three new programs, which include the Joint Research, Innovator Scholarship, and Innovation Challenge. These programs will encourage innovation through research and development, as well as entrepreneurship. Every program that the Secretariat develops is interconnected with one another to ensure a continuous process of development from discovering solution prototypes through applied research to finding and nurturing the entrepreneurial spirit. In light of the COVID-19 pandemic that has spread widely and emerged in more than 200 countries, the AIS Forum would like to encourage AIS countries to strengthen cooperation and synergize economic instruments to fight the deterioration of the world economy. It is more important than ever to strengthen our cooperation, as the COVID-19 pandemic has clearly shown that no country is capable of facing a crisis situation alone. The pervasive and long-term threat posed by this viral outbreak demands the international community to come together to deal with the current pandemic. It is also forces every entity around the world to become more adaptive and agile in the face of disruption, and to integrate digital forum secretariat has come up to integrate digital transformation strategies into their management schemes. The AIS Forum Secretariat has come up with several initiatives that will optimize digital platform. For example, a startup hub that will provide e-learning and virtual networking channels for early stage startups through virtual training sessions and lectures designed for professionals and students from the business and academic communities. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as islanders, we have unique perspective and experiences that differ with continent-based nations. As Helen Keller once said, alone we can do a little, together we can do so much. To everyone here today, I hope we can stay connected, work together, and support each other to forge concrete collaboration that addresses pressing matters on the ground. I would like to wish you all successful and fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sarewa. As you mentioned, we have a unique perspective as the archipelagic and island states. Together, we can do so much. Right, we are going to the next speaker, His Excellency Owen Jenkins. Owen Jenkins is the British Ambassador of Indonesia and Timor-Leste, and he took up his post in July 2019. Before his appointment as ambassador, Owen was British Prime Minister's Special Representative for Afghanistan and Pakistan, responsible for engaging at the highest levels in the region and internationally on issues such as the Afghan peace process, cooperation on counter-terrorism, and bilateral relation. And this is one of the interesting things, maybe for the audience outside the work. His Excellency Owen Jenkins, as a North Londoner, support the Gunners, the Arsenal. Please welcome Her Majesty's Ambassador to the Republic of Indonesia and non-resident Ambassador to the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste, Ambassador Owen Jenkins. The virtual stage is yours.
Pak Mohammed, thank you very much indeed for that kind and personal introduction. I'm delighted to be here today. Distinguished representatives, excellencies, colleagues and friends, I'm genuinely honoured to be invited to make the opening remarks at today's AIS Forum programme's launch. And I was particularly pleased because the United Kingdom has been an interested and an involved participant in the AIS Forum since its very inception. And that was because we have historically strong links with many of its members, but also because as archipelagic and island states, we are all linked in a very particular way as maritime nations. And in that context, as the Deputy Minister said, this is a particularly appropriate week for us to be gathering with UN Oceans Day on Monday and Coral Triangle Day yesterday. Given the challenging circumstances and the pandemic, I'm particularly heartened that we didn't stop gathering, that we can still gather using these wonders of modern technology, because it's important that we continue to meet to try to resolve the most important issues of our time. And in that context, I'd particularly like to thank the government of Indonesia for taking the AIS initiative in the first place and for convening us today. Particular thanks go to His Excellency Coordinating Minister Pak Luhut Panjaitan, who has overseen the process, and of course to His Excellency Deputy Minister Pak Purbaya Yudi Sadewa for leading us today. I'd also like to add my thanks to the United Nations Development Programme, and in particular to Christophe Bauer and his team for their continuing support. And of course, many thanks to all the AIS Forum members and stakeholders for their continued engagement and collaboration. And that word, collaboration, is rightly the theme of today's discussion. I'm very pleased that the Joint Research Programme, the Innovators Scholarship, and the Innovation Challenge are being launched today, and will see greater collaboration between AIS universities. It will see academic talent nurtured and businesses empowered to innovate. The United Kingdom is keen to support and to be involved in those programs, including by making links to our own existing programs, such as the Newton Research Fund and our Chevening Scholarship Programme, as well as to wider Commonwealth and international collaborations that can support our shared AIS objectives. The United Kingdom has already agreed to support the AIS Joint Research Programme selection process, with our science attaché participating in the selection panel. When I was reflecting on the AIS objectives, as described by His Excellency the Deputy Minister, of developing the blue economy, tackling climate change, reducing marine plastic debris, and developing good maritime governance, I think that it's fair to say we are all seeing these four objectives through one lens, that of developing sustainable blue economies. Sustainable economic development means that we will be tackling climate change, we will be reducing marine plastics, we will be forging good maritime governance, not in addition to growing our economies, but because it is the only sustainable way in which we can do so. And because of that cross-cutting nature of these objectives, I think it's important to highlight the cross-sector action which is needed to support a sustainable blue economy. We need action to reduce carbon emissions in all sectors, whether offshore, coastal or inland. The acidification of oceans and maritime marine plastic waste are problems that start onshore and must be tackled at source as well as in the oceans. A rapid transition to a low carbon energy and transport system, as well as waste reduction and management, is also crucial, including in the marine sector. And this transition can create new markets which benefit, not harm, our economies. We're already seeing that in the renewable energy sector, where resources such as tidal, wave and offshore wind, and of course solar power, are rapidly developing, often offering cheaper energy for communities and creating millions of jobs. So I have high hopes that the AIS Forum programs, linking with and adding value to ours and other members, can begin to find solutions that all AIS members will benefit from. Given the UK's chairmanship of COP26, developing sustainable economies that tackle climate change by design rather than cause it will remain a top priority for the UK government, and I know for all AIS members. And I would urge everybody to consider how they individually and we as nations can collectively raise our ambitions to secure a brighter and post-COVID a healthier future for our citizens. As the AIS Terms of Reference document succinctly puts it, tackling our shared challenges will be impossible without high levels of international cooperation. As has already been said, we can overcome problems when we work together, when we can cooperate, when we partner, and the United Kingdom is committed to doing so. We already run, or are involved in, a range of programs and collaborations which I think are highly relevant to today's discussion. With your permission, I'll mention a few. For example, the United Kingdom has announced that it will establish a £500 million Blue Planet Fund, which will help countries, including some AIS Forum members, protect their marine resources from human-generated threats, including climate change, plastic pollution, overfishing and habitat loss. The Commonwealth Marine Economies Programme assists Commonwealth states in the Caribbean Pacific, including AIS Forum members, to develop sustainable, climate-resilient blue economies, which create jobs, drive national economic growth and reduce poverty. We're also investing £23 million in blue carbon projects to protect, restore and sustainably manage mangroves, creating new sustainable livelihoods and increasing the climate resilience of over 100,000 people in coastal communities and delivering, we hope, around 13.9 million tonnes of carbon dioxide savings. Given the close alignment of these programs with the AIS Forum objectives, we'd be happy to explore how these programs might benefit eligible AIS Forum members. And further, we have already made links between the AIS Forum Secretariat and capital investment funds, which focus on plastic waste, to explore opportunities for investment in AIS Forum member states, following significant investments in plastic recycling here in Indonesia. And UK and other Commonwealth AIS members are well placed to share our learning and experience from existing programs, which also align closely to the AIS Forum's objectives. For example, initiatives under the Commonwealth Blue Charter Agreement, including programs like the UK and Vanuatu-led Commonwealth Clean Ocean Alliance, which works to tackle marine plastics, and other action groups that look at a range of issues focusing on sustainable blue economies. 7 of the 10 Commonwealth AIS Forum members are already in the Clean Ocean Alliance, strengthening it as a platform for knowledge sharing between states and organisations such as the Commonwealth and the AIS. And there are other ways in which AIS Forum members can support each other. For example, by joining the Global Ocean Alliance to deliver the so-called 30 by 30 initiative, aiming to protect 30% of the global ocean by 2030. I was very pleased to see that 7 more countries joined that alliance on World Ocean Day this week, including Fiji, one of our AIS Forum partners. I would very much urge other AIS Forum members to join too. To sum up, there's already much we're doing, but there's so much more we can do. And through the AIS Forum and building its links with the Commonwealth, COP26 and other international organisations, I think we have an unrivaled opportunity to take individual and collective action to drive sustainable blue economies while protecting our ocean. We have an obligation and a need to protect it, and we must make the most of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Owen. To sum up, I would like to highlight a bit about the commitment from the UK as the island state and a part of the 47 of archipelagic and island state that UK commit to support and involve, including contributing in link of AIS universities and also a capital invest fund for plastic recycling in Indonesia, for example. And maybe for the concrete collaboration partnership in addressing common challenge between us, the archipelagic and island states, I have just checked, Pawan, that at 18th of June, English Premier League will run again, and one of the big match is between the Manchester City and the Arsenal. It is not just about watching the Manchester and the Gunners, but maybe for us, we are trying to see the best practice of doing post-pandemic COVID-19 near or around the contact sport. Okay, now we would like to move to our third speaker. We would like to welcome Professor Dr. Taufik Hidayat, the Head of Partnership Division of Bandung Institute of Technology, ITB, Indonesia. Over to you, please. Please, Professor Taufik.
Okay. Your Excellency, Berwin Jenkins, Ambassador Excellency
Professor Taufik? Okay, I think Professor Taufik has trouble with internet, and maybe for now, we would like to move to our fourth speaker for our opening remark. So I would like to welcome Mr. Christoph Bahwe, UNDP Indonesia Resident Representative, who will also officially launch the joint research program, the Innovator Scholarship, and the 2020 AIS Innovation Challenge. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Ambassador Owen Jenkins, Ambassador of the United Kingdom to Indonesia and Timor-Leste, thank you very much for joining us, Ambassador. Your Excellency, Bapak Purbaya Yudi Sadewa, the Deputy Minister for Maritime Sovereignty and Energy of the Coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs and Investments of Indonesia. Nice to meet again, Pak. Your Excellency, Professor Dr. Taufik Hidayat, Head of the Partnership Division of the Institute of Technology of Bandung. Thank you for joining us. I hope we're going to be able to listen to you in a minute. The distinguished speakers of events today, Your Excellency, Ambassador Solomara, the Secretary General of the Pacific Island Development Forum. Nice to meet again, Ambassador. Mr. Tanteli, the Director General of Fisheries and Agriculture of the Ministries of Aquaculture, Livestock and Fisheries of Madagascar. Mr. Isaac Grace, the Chargé d'Affaires of the Embassy of Fiji in Indonesia, and my colleague, Mr. Riyad Medeb, the Senior Principal Advisor for Small Island Developing States of UNDP. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today, and many thanks to the AIS Forum Secretariat for organizing this event. I'm delighted to be here on behalf of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. As you know, UNDP very strongly and very actively supports the AIS Forum. We believe it is a very valuable, a very concrete initiative. And one of the main reasons we support the AIS Forum is that it is based on principle that UNDP fully embraces and promotes the principle of regional and international cooperation, cooperation among archipelagic and island states, no matter their geographical location, no matter their development status. It's really cooperation among all members. The principle also of cooperation between the public and the private sector. between the governments and companies, including startups or investment funds, as the British ambassador just mentioned, is an important feature of the AIS Forum. This multi-partnership is something that UNDP very much believes in as a way to promote development. Also, the fact that the AIS Forum help countries address development challenges that are common. Again, irrespective of the geographical location and the development status, those challenges are faced. And in particular, the four issues that were identified and formally mentioned in the Manado Declaration last year, the climate change mitigation and adaptation, blue economy, including ecotourism, marine plastic debris, and good maritime governance. Those are fundamental issues, and those are also issues that UNDP as an international organization is helping member countries to address. So it's very important that they are the focus of the AIS Forum. And lastly, and I think it's a very distinctive feature of AIS Forum, the very strong emphasis that is placed on smart solutions and innovation. And again, innovation and innovative development solution is UNDP, one of the focus of UNDP work in all the countries, and we very much support this innovation dimension on the of the AIS Forum. It makes it very, very special, and it has a very strong potential. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would be remiss if I did not mention of COVID-19. And the pandemic that is affecting everyone. But let me just make 2 points very, very briefly on this. First, I'm very happy that COVID-19 does not stop the activities of the AIS Forum, and I give credit to the AIS Secretariat for still managing to organize a number of activities, including today's event. And the second point is that the current pandemic makes the issues that I was just mentioning a minute ago even more relevant. Cooperation and multilateralism is absolutely essential to overcome the crisis in an effective way, in a way that leaves no one behind, and also to prepare for a different future. And we are very happy in UNDP Indonesia that Indonesia has been one of the very vocal member states of the United Nations about the importance of international cooperation and multilateralism. It also makes green and blue recovery absolutely essential. And in Indonesia, the United Kingdom, together with UNDP and other partners, are working very actively with the government here to look a little bit at, the importance of maintaining the direction of a low carbon development, the importance of having the basis for a strong green and blue recovery. And I think in the case of many AIS countries, that will actually include tourism. We talked a lot in Manado about ecotourism, return to safe tourism. Ecotourism will be very important. So it's absolutely essential that we keep our focus on this dimension. And third point, climate change is not going away. It might be overshadowed by the daily numbers regarding the epidemic, but climate change remains an emergency. So we should not take our eyes away from climate change. And finally, innovation is more needed than ever. Because if we're going to invent a different normal, a new normal, whatever we call it, innovation, looking at different approaches will be essential. And here again, AIS Forum, I believe, will be here to promote innovation and capitalize on the innovation that are being piloted in the AIS countries. And today, what we are launching, I think, exemplify, what the AIS is doing, AIS Forum is doing in terms of meeting the needs, addressing the development issues, and harnessing the potential that exists in all AIS Forum participating countries. The joint research, I think, is a very good example of, looking at engagement of the academic community to capitalize on the knowledge that exists in all the countries. And I'm very happy this direction, academic direction, knowledge direction that we talked about in Manado is now bearing fruit with this joint research initiative. And I'm absolutely delighted that the United Kingdom, through the Newton Research Fund, agreed to join and be a member of the panel. And I think that's actually, offers opportunities for very concrete cooperation between AIS Forum and funds, research funds like the Newton Research Fund in the UK for future exchanges. The second initiative is innovator scholarships. It's a fully funded exchange program for talented individuals from all AIS countries. So it's a very inclusive program with the opportunity given to selected candidates to study 1 semesters and earn credit from host university in AIS countries. So very good to see those exchange, and let me thank Pak Taufik for joining on behalf of ITB as one of the first host university for this program. And the last one, Innovation Challenge, is something that we talked about in Manado and has a very strong potential. It's really a business competition, looking for early stage startups that have innovative business model, that one business model that can help build resilience, and overcome the challenges faced in the crisis. And we know in Manado there were a lot of startups, and we heard that there were in AIS participating countries even more startups developing very interesting ideas that just need to be scaled up and supported. And we're very happy that the best team will be invited and will join the AIS Startup Hub Development Program that will actually help nurture them. And again, it's a very good initiative on the AIS Forum Secretariat to take a longer term vision with a hub development program. So in closing, ladies and gentlemen, let me thank you again for joining us this morning. Let me congratulate the AIS Forum for establishing these 3 very innovative schemes and for extending invitation to all researchers, academicians, students, startups in all the AIS participating countries. And therefore the joint research, the innovator scholarship, and the innovation challenge are hereby launched. And I thank you very much for supporting them, and thank you for your attention. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Christophe Bahwe. And now,
In the
as the
year
remark,
2017, the Archipelagic and Island States Forum initiated. The Archipelagic and Island States Forum, or AIS Forum, is a designated platform to include 47 archipelagic and island nations focused in 4 thematic areas. Those are climate change mitigation and adaptation, blue economy, marine plastic debris, and good maritime governance. AIS Forum Secretariat has developed 3 programs that encourage innovations through research and development and entrepreneurship. Those are Joint Research Program, the Innovators Scholarship Program, and Innovation Challenge. We believe that the academicians play a big role in advancing R&D. Thus, we initiated the Joint Research Program between academic institutions to come up with breakthrough ideas that could bring benefit to AIS participating countries. In the second program, we will bring talented individuals through the Innovators Scholarship Program to come up with innovations that contribute to the economy of AIS countries. The scholarship program is a partnership between AIS Forum with universities from archipelagic and island countries. Last, in the light of COVID-19 pandemic, it is important for archipelagic and island states to have a resilient economy. Therefore, AIS Forum Secretariat introduces the Innovation Challenge, an idea competition to find business solutions that can help companies and societies at large withstand a crisis situation. Many solutions to challenges that affect AIS participating countries in 4 main thematic areas and SDG 14 goals are produced through collaboration programs. These programs will explore opportunities through innovation and experiment that benefits on a local, regional, and international scale through sharing knowledge and experiences between AIS participating countries.
so that's video visual remark for the launching program from AIS launching program. And as it mentioned from Mr. Christophe Bahwe, in order to harnessing joint research program and capitalize knowledge, we would like to hear now from the academic side. So I would like to invite again Professor Dr. Taufik Hidayat, the head of Partnership Division of Bandung Institute of Technology, ITB Indonesia. Over to you, Professor Taufik, please.
All right. Okay, Your Excellency, Ambassador Owen Jenkins, Ambassador of the United Kingdom to Indonesia and Timor-Leste, Your Excellency, Ambassador Solomara, Secretary General of the Pacific Island Development Forum, Your Excellency, Ambassador Stephen Borg, High Commissioner of the Republic of Malta to the Republic of India, and Your Excellency, Isaac Grace, Charge d'Affaires of the Fiji Embassy in Indonesia, Representative UNDP Indonesia, Mr. Ravelo Manatsua Andriana Risoa Tanteli, Director of the Sea and Blue Economy Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries of Madagascar, Mr. Riyad Medeb, Senior Principal Advisor for Small Island Developing States, UNDP Headquarters, Mr. Purbaya Yudisadewa, Deputy Minister for Maritime Sovereignty and Energy of the Coordinating Ministry of Maritime Affairs of Indonesia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So it is an honor and pleasure to be here virtually today with you at the AIS program launching 2020, covering such area as Joint Research Innovator Scholarship and the 2020 AIS Innovation Challenge. On behalf of the Director of Institut Teknologi Bandung, ITB, I welcome all the delegates to this event, and I'm proud that ITB is selected as one of the partners of these prestigious programs. ITB is renowned for our strong tradition in learning, conducting research, and contributing to society, as well as to make progressive development in the area of science, technology, art, business management, and social culture or community, as stated in the ITB's motto, in Harmonia Progressio. So in order to accentuate that noble mission, ITB is strongly supported by the cooperation among professors, lecturers, researchers, and graduate students. As a higher institution that always strives for high quality education, we support any partnership program that can leverage the potential within the regions and promote actionable local and global solutions. In the past 5 years, compared to other higher education institutions in Indonesia, ITB ranks first in our research output in the form of international publication. In terms of entrepreneurship development, we have a growing number of student entrepreneurship trainings and startup tenants within the last 10 years. In terms of international networks, ITB has maintained relationship with many global partners and certainly welcomes new cooperation with universities within the scope of the AIS Forum. We believe that such cooperation will open up new avenues for our students and scholars to learn from one another in terms of culture, economy, business practices, and beyond. The world is full of diversity, and we need to truly appreciate and leverage those differences to foster innovation and create both localized and global solutions. And further, we believe that being able to leverage diversity helps promote peace, which is much needed, especially now. As Excellencies, distinguished guests, we are now living in the era where sustainability issues become vital. We are currently facing global environmental problems that are also addressed by the AIS Forum, such as mitigation and adaptation of climate change and disaster management, economic challenge, which consists of the blue economy, sustainable fisheries, as well as economic development and creation of fair work opportunities, marine plastic debris, and good governance in the maritime sector. These problems align well with ITB's future efforts on expanding joint research in the field of local ingenuity, yet with global interests such as climate, biodiversity, and tropical medicine. We are aware that these problems should be addressed through strong collaboration initiative within the nation, through mutual understanding and peer-to-peer knowledge exchange. The programs launched today, Joint Research Innovator Scholarship and the Innovation Challenge, and enable the potential of talented individuals within the AIS country members, not only for them as an individual, but also for the relevant stakeholders to find sustainable and innovative solution. ITB is keen on becoming a part of it to leverage the continued process from research and education and nurturing an entrepreneurial spirits, as well as being an active enabler of that process in line with our mission to be an entrepreneurial university. Excellencies and distinguished guests, I would also like to thank all the esteemed speakers who are willing to share their insight on fostering collaboration for resilience island economies. I wish we all have a successful forum from the seminar, and let us continue our partnership and collaboration in the future. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On behalf of Professor Raini Berhadikusuma, PhD, Rector of ITB.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Taufik Hidayat from ITB. ITB as the higher education institution that involved with this program, agree to support that will join together with the professor, lecturer, student, with a partnership program that leverage the potential in region and also note the importance of addressing peer-to-peer knowledge exchange. Thank you, Professor Taufik. So for further information, I would like to inform you to check our website, www.aisforum.org. So now it's time to move to our main fruitful discussion, our next 5 remarkable panelists, but I would like to say hello to all at least 220 attendees that are watching for our event today from around the world. So we're going to have a fruitful discussion. Yes, we are virtually here today to discuss and unfolding the opportunities and the challenges as well in order fostering collaboration for resilient island economies. We have a great panel to discuss our topic. Allow me to introduce the 5 panelists. The first is His Excellency Stephen Borg, High Commissioner of the Republic of Malta to the Republic of India. And then we have Ambassador Solomara, the Secretary General of EIDF, based in Suva, Fiji. And then we have Mr. Rafaelo Manatsoa, Andrianasoa Tenteli. Mr. Tenteli now is Director of the Sea and Blue Economy, or DMED, Ministry of Aquaculture, Livestock and Fisheries from Madagascar. And then we have Mr. Isaac Reis, Charge d'Affaires of the Fiji Embassy in Indonesia. And last but not least, Mr. Riyad Medeb, Senior Principal Advisor for Small Island Developing State at UNDP headquarters in the United States. So before we start to our talk show and discussion, I would like to remind all of us at the beginning, the panelists will elaborate the theme related to the title of our talk show. Every panelist will elaborate in 5 minutes, and then we move to talk show session and then to Q&A session. So please put the question into the Q&A box with the format. Please, may I ask your question in short, country and affiliation, to whom the question to be asked, and most of all, just one compact question. Okay, now I would like to invite the first speaker, the first panelist, His Excellency Stephen Borg, High Commissioner of the Republic of Malta to the Republic of India, to elaborate our topic for today. And allow me to give the biography, the short biography of His Excellency Stephen Borg. Prior to taking up his position in January 2016 as High Commissioner of Malta in New Delhi, Stephen Borg served among others as Ambassador to Saudi Arabia in Riyadh and as Malta representative to the Political and Security Committee, or PSC, of the European Union in Brussels. His Excellency Stephen Borg, the virtual stage is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope you can all hear me. It's a real pleasure to be with you today. It's not exactly like being in Manado, but at least we are very happy to be able to virtually keep the work going. I am privileged to have been in Manado for 2 consecutive years when the Manado Declaration was born and when the 4 pillars of the work of the AIS were established. And of course, they continue to be relevant today even more than they were 2 years ago. Small island states and island states. I come from a small island state with a highly densely population, and with the vulnerabilities that small island states tend to have. And if the pandemic has had a very negative effect on economies all around the world, I think that is true, and maybe doubly true for small island states. This is due to the dependence of small island states on international trade, tourism, and other services, including finance and transportation, as well as, in our case, population density. Let me add that in addition to the direct and economic consequence on the economy, the pandemic is also having an effect on displacements of people in our region and increasing migration. As a country, Malta, we are dependent on tourism to the tune of 15% of our GDP, tourism and related services. And we know that the pandemic will have a long-lasting effect on tourism due to restrictions on travel and consumer confidence that is lacking. However, I must say that considering the difficulties that the pandemic is having on us, we have opportunities in our that are available to us, to small island states and to island states, that we can use. And we are very much looking ahead to use these opportunities. And of course, the most important principles that we are looking at here is the sustainability of our oceans and a sustainable economic model for our oceans, as well as partnerships and collaborations, which are the themes of the talk today. When it comes to our oceans, I followed, like many others, the opening of World Oceans Day on Monday. And one comment struck me, and it said, "This is our house and it is blue." And of course, it makes you realize even more strongly how important the oceans are for us. And when it comes to oceans, of course, we have to be conscious of the fact that all our sectors, all our policies are interconnected. And this interconnectedness, I believe, is key to what we are doing together. And to unlock the potential of the blue economy while preserving a sustainable environment in our oceans. Malta has, along the years, been an active participant and an active proponent of the concept of the common heritage of mankind, a principle that is enshrined in international legislation and the law of the sea. And I think we have to continue to be inspired by that, because the seas are, in actual fact, common heritage of mankind, and for the future of mankind as well. But to come back to my point about interconnectedness, when it comes to the blue economy, I would like to say something about the importance of having an integrated maritime policy, both on a regional level and on a national level. This is a policy that is also a European Union policy that promotes the interconnected nature of all our shipping, all our coastal tourism, all our fisheries, oil and gas extraction, all the traditional sectors of our blue economy, as well as of our new industries, such as offshore wind, ocean energy, and blue biotechnology. And all this offers great potential for future economic growth, employment creation, and innovation. So the realization and the implementation of an interconnected system of all human activities centered on the sea is for us extremely important. But not to dwell too much on that, I will just say that for Malta, the blue economy employs around 10,400 people, which is not negligible given our population, and 4.7% as a contribution to our GDP. The agency responsible for the implementation of our integrated maritime policy is called Maritime Malta Agency, which is a government agency which has specific responsibility for this objective. We have also appointed in 2018 an ambassador for oceans. And to my knowledge, he is one of 6 worldwide who has the specific remit to promote ocean sustainability. And now let me just say a few words about collaborations. When it comes to small island states, as I hinted earlier, the current technological advancements, developments, communications, international economic conditions, and conducive policy frameworks, as well as platforms such as the AIS, offers new opportunities to share experiences, best practices, and draw on commonalities to enhance our resilience.
Mr.
Can I just, yeah?
Yes. Allow me to ask about the impact of the current pandemic crisis on island countries, maybe especially in your country, Malta, based on the best practice and experience. So the question is, what's the most important lesson learned from this pandemic crisis for the island states?
Well, as I said earlier, Malta is a tourism destination that has been so for many years, and this is an area which is suffering disproportionately from the pandemic. At the same time, the government of Malta has taken decisive action in support of businesses in that sector and in other sectors by, for example, giving these businesses the opportunity to shoulder their salaries, to subsidize their salaries, as well as to delay tax payments, for example. So a number of financial measures have been put in place. And during the pandemic, we have also put in place certain measures such as e-learning and training schemes for our tourism industry to be able to be better prepared once borders start reopening again. The most important lesson, I would say, is again how interconnected the world is. For example, in the supply of medicines, in the supply of food, and how important it is for barriers to be removed and how important it is for trade to be kept open even in the most difficult situations. We are learning, of course, like everybody else from this pandemic, and we intend to share these lessons, particularly when it comes to tourism, through specific initiatives with small island states, because this is something that we believe that is especially important for island states' economies. So collaborations regional and multilateral collaborations are especially important and are a especially important lesson for us. And I think the lesson is also that the pandemic gives us an opportunity to build and rebuild our economies in a better way, in a more sustainable way, addressing the problems and the challenges that we have ahead of us and that are very well set out in the Manado Declaration. And we can do this together.
Possibility to implement new normal in the travel and tourism industry, but hold on there. I will go to the next, our panelists first. And now we would like to hear the 5-minute elaboration from the next. Our panelist is Ambassador Solomara, the Secretary General of Pacific Island Development Group. Yes, and allow me to read the highlight of the CV from His Excellency Solomara. Before appointed as in his current position, His Excellency Solomara was the Fiji ambassador to the United States from 2015 to 2019, and then also was the commissioner or high commissioner to the United Kingdom from 2011 and until 2015. His Excellency Solomara, the stage is yours. Please elaborate about your best experience related to our topic today.
Yes. Well, thank you, Mr. Achir, Deputy Minister Purbaya Sadewa, Your Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it is an honor for the Pacific Island Development Forum and me personally to participate in this Zoom conference today, particularly on a very important topic on building resilient island economies through collaboration, which is very relevant in the current socio-economic environment brought about by COVID-19. First, I would like to acknowledge and thank the government of Indonesia through Deputy Minister Purbaya Sadewa and the AIS Secretariat for spearheading this discussion on fostering collaboration on this AIS Forum platform. This topic is now more relevant as new global threats posed by pandemics like COVID-19 exacerbate the ongoing impacts of climate change on the most vulnerable nations, particularly in the Pacific Island region. And in April of this year, as the world was adopting protocols to safeguard its population from the impact of COVID-19, the Pacific Islands was hit by a Category 4 tropical cyclone on April, and it affected Vanuatu, Fiji, Samoa, the Solomon Islands, and Tonga. And this reiterates clearly the point that has been previously highlighted, that the COVID-19 and this pandemic exacerbates further the impact of climate change that small island states are already facing. And on the issue that was posed to the ambassador from Malta, I wish to highlight for our audience and our panelists that COVID-19 just highlights further the vulnerability of island states. It's been mentioned that we are battling the impacts of climate change, the geographical distance from our markets, the cost of doing business. And to us, COVID-19, like if there are some lessons to be learned, we feel that it highlights the need to strengthen healthcare and related infrastructure on our islands, and also strengthening the immunity of the population, which in the Pacific Island region is already compromised by diabetes, obesity, heart attacks, and other NCDs. and the need to address the impact of NCDs through improved diet that are based on local fresh produce. And thirdly, one of the lessons, I suppose, in the immediate term that we need to learn from this pandemic is that, we need to start creating economic models that will cater for those that are made redundant from the impacts of COVID-19, particularly for countries in the Pacific Island region, those that work in the tourism and civil aviation and related service sectors. If I remember correctly, and I think my friend from the Fiji Embassy in Indonesia will elaborate further how almost 100,000 employees in Fiji have been made redundant, like from the tourism and aviation and sector. And the challenge is, how do we accommodate these people who've been made redundant in a new economic model, and which has been highlighted, like the need to move towards blue economic models, diversifications of economies away from tourism and aviation. And how do we look at the blue economy as a savior for the current pandemic that we are going through? Those are some of the issues that we have learned from the current pandemic. And now, moderator, prior to bringing me on the screen, highlighted whether, or posed the question, whether there can be a new normal going forward. And I think absolutely. Necessity is the mother of invention. And for us in the islands, countries have invested millions, if not billions, of dollars in their tourism infrastructures, which are currently ghost towns today. And these investments cannot go to waste. And in the immediate future, island states that are tourist destinations are discussing the possibilities of creating bubbles with tourist source markets to allow for the immediate opening of hotels and other tourist-related activities. But this will require a level of control and monitoring at both ends to mitigate against the risk of an outbreak. It is therefore likely that all economic activities that rely on travel will have to develop a health-related monitoring protocol that requires some level of health checks to be undertaken prior to and after travel. In the Pacific, and particularly in Fiji, the authorities are also already looking at launching, at the end of the month, a mobile app that will assist with contact tracing. And that is one of the ways that they are thinking about of creating and strengthening a bubble to allow for tourism to happen quickly in the immediate term. I will end there, Mr. Moderator, and allow other speakers to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency Ambassador Solomara. So I think I got the same highlight between the present topic, present issue from Fiji and also from Malta. So I would like to pose this question previously to Malta and now also to Fiji. I mean, is it possible now for us to implement a new normal in the travel and tourism industry? And maybe we can think together now, like we are doing the brainstorming now. So what this new normal look like? I mean, the issue now, the airport try or start to open their operation, but now people start to feel at least still being afraid of COVID-19. And the other issue is about traveling and maybe tourism to be more expensive, because several protocol of healthy that tourists should be allowed. So I would like to give the stage to Mr. Solomara first, and then to His Excellency Stephen Borg to address the issue. Can you hear me clearly, Mr. Solomara?
Mr. Moderator, thank you for that question, and I think I've touched on it briefly in the remarks I just gave, and I highlighted, like in addition to what's happening now in the tourism sector, like in creating bubbles to allow for travel between tourist markets and tourist destinations, and the innovative development of mobile apps to assist health authorities in contact tracing in the event of an outbreak. I highlighted in my opening remarks the need for moving away or diversifying away from tourism and aviation and the related service sectors that are attached to these industries, so that the impact of pandemics on travel industries can be softened by the accommodation that will be created in other industries. And we had highlighted, I think the Deputy Minister had highlighted the importance of focusing in the development of the blue economy. And I suppose that is an area where a lot of the innovative ideas need to be directed towards to create business applications that can create jobs for those that are coming out of from the tourism and the aviation sector. Whilst I feel that the closure of hotels will be a short-term solutions, because eventually we will need to open up our borders and allow for tourists to travel and trade to happen. But in the immediate term, in the absence of a vaccine to address the COVID-19 pandemic, we need to be innovative in our thinking of where we will create economic activities that can generate jobs for economies, particularly economies in island states, which to start off with, have very limited base.
Right.
And that is something that I thought should also be considered in this collaboration platform that we are discussing on the AIS platform.
Right. Okay. I think we've got the message, the main message, and then the interesting issue about applying kind of mobile apps to tracking the tourists, and creating the positive bubble for tourist market and destination, particularly between the AIS economies. So let's go back to His Excellency Stephen Borg. The same question. Maybe let's go deeper. What this new normal look like? Especially maybe Malta already has been practicing this and share this best experience to us now.
Thank you very much. Now, to take up a point made by the previous speaker, in order to move from vulnerability to resilience, it is, I think, key to have diversification of our economies. And of course, tourism is an important part of our economy, but of course there are other sectors of our economy that are also very important. And of course, this is a challenge for small states because of scale economies and so on, but it is achievable, and I think that's a very important point to make. When it comes to, and in this context, when it comes to diversification, the blue economy will play a very, very important part. As we know, the OECD has already stated that the blue economy is predicted to grow twice as fast as the land economy in the coming years. When it comes to tourism, we are looking forward as Malta to reopening our airports on the 1st of July, after a closure for a number of months since the 20th of March. We have designated 9 countries as a start, in a context of safe corridors. And we have argued, our Minister of Tourism has argued in various international fora on the importance to restart air connections in safe corridors. And I think in this context, it is very important to build and rebuild confidence in the tourism sector. We are starting with gradual steps, like I believe some other countries are doing. We have opened most of our economy internally in terms of restaurants, hospitality places, and so on. Tourism, of course, is the more difficult area, most difficultly hit by the pandemic, but we are looking forward to restarting slowly and rebuilding confidence in the sector. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency Stephen Borg. So we are going to the next panelist, Mr. Raffaello Manassua Andriana Suatantanelli, as the Director of the Sea and Blue Economy, or the MEB, Ministry of Aquaculture, Livestock, Fisheries in Madagascar. Mr. Tantanelli, maybe you can share, based on your over 43 years in your biography, in your CV, you said that very experienced in fisheries, especially. Maybe you can share the best practice as well related to the mid of COVID-19 and also how to overcome of this issue. Please, Mr. Tantanelli.
Thank you. Even if it's compulsory in my country for to wear this hiding most mask, I think for this event I can take it off to speak better. His Excellency, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you also to the AIS Secretary to invite Madagascar representative to this forum. The evidence has shown that no country can face such a challenge alone. Thus, it is only through strong partnership and meaning collaboration that archipelagic and island countries can safely emerge from a crisis situation. In everything which occurs in our life, good or bad, we had always to try to take advantage. As for pandemic crisis, island states had to use their own resources to supply basic needs. For the travel and tourism industry, the new standard would be to strengthen sanitary controls at borders. Regional and global cooperation had to provide equipment aid and financial support, especially to the most vulnerable countries. Concerning importance of global and regional partnership for island countries, knowledge of the strengths and weakness of the member state makes it possible to analyze and see the complementary of the needs to be provided. To encourage innovation in member states, global and regional cooperation can provide a platform of exchanges and consultations. By raising awareness, sharing and exchanging experiences, and supporting capacity building in the country, such cooperation helps bring the gap between global solution and local problem. concerning the future potential of blue economy to conserve and to exploit sustainably the ocean, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development as part of the implementation of SDG 14. The opportunities for the blue economy are enormous. Fishing and aquaculture, processing of fisheries resources, coastal tourism, and passenger transport services. Long ago, the south of Madagascar has been known as the route of India or the spice route. And until now, this route is regularly borrowed by many ships and causing enormous damage to the environment as coral reef and sea grasses and fishery reserves by dumping polluant in the sea. Plastic pollution is one of the new environmental dangers that should not be overlooked. In addition, climate change is very felt on the coast, and especially the case of Madagascar, sea level rise, increasing of sea surface temperature. And the least, but not the last, IUU, or illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. Madagascar has a loss of profit or a miss to win of $500 million US dollar. These are among the biggest obstacles to realizing the full potential of the blue economy for island state. Unity is strength, so all island countries had to bear in mind as a common vision, collaboration for resilient island economies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chansley. Interesting for opening and sharing about the opportunities and the challenge as well, especially in Madagascar. One of the highlight issue about the needed of platform exchange between particularly AIS economies, and also covering about the coastal tourism and the concern about passenger transport issue. And maybe one question for you, Mr. Chansley. So what do you think? What is your argument about what role can global or regional cooperation play during this crisis situation? Maybe we can shortening or deepening to between AIS economies.
As I told before, no country can face such a challenge alone. And especially for archipelagic and island states, which are alone, we had to be with to have a strong partnership and a meaning collaboration that only can archipelagic and island countries can safely emerge from the crisis. And especially, we need this global cooperation to help us to emerge from this crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Chansley. So now we're moving to the fourth speaker, Mr. Isaac Grace, Charge d'Affaires of the Fiji Embassy in Indonesia. So with over 10 years of experience, having worked in development organization, donor and agent, food and beverage industry, and energy industry. So now Mr. Isaac Grace bring the significant depth of corporate corporate governance, understanding of development dynamics, and acute awareness of domestic political development and regional affairs. So, Mr. Grace, please elaborate the topic related to our discussion today in 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator, Your Excellencies, the Deputy Minister for Maritime Sovereignty and Energy, Bapak Purbaya Sadeo, Excellencies, speakers, thank you so much. Good morning to you all. And thank you so much for the discussions that we've had so far. If I may go deep right into the two sectors that has been affected severely in terms of Fiji's context, fisheries and tourism are two sectors that are important, not only to Fiji, but to small island developing states. These sectors are important to our sustainable development and have the potential to also accelerate our progress towards achieving the SDGs. For Fiji's context, fisheries and tourism undergird our lifelines for sustained and improved livelihood, and they are amongst the significant pillars of our sustainable development. The outbreak of COVID-19 has amplified the significance of these two sectors, and similarly for other Asia-Pacific small island developing states. And they are our major source, as they are our major source for livelihood and provide much needed receipts for our economic development. But given the current pandemic's impact on fisheries and tourism, Fiji would like to see the appropriate regional mechanisms are strengthened and put in place to assist SEEDs in our pursuit for sustainable development. Regional platforms, therefore, such as the AIS Forum and other multilateral platforms under UNESCO, SEEDs, etc., remain an important engagement platform, bringing together various stakeholders to discuss and collaborate significantly on significant and important issues to the region. This platform needs to be strengthened and institutionalized. Fiji attaches a lot of importance to it because it is an opportunity not only to meet, but to network with like-minded friends and also to look for opportunities to collaborate. COVID-19 has presented an opportunity. If our conversation diverts to the new normal or the combination of the old structures and the new constructions, but it has given us an opportunity for considering a regional tourism and a travel strategy as we chart a path to collectively work towards recovery. While the CSN report, or the Countries with Special Needs report, discusses the significance of tourism to small island developing states, we must now take concrete steps as a region to revive the tourism industry. Member states have the opportunity to recognize and to appreciate tourism's unique ability to not only provide employment, but also to drive equality and inclusivity. As we embark on the UN Decade of Action for Sustainable Development, we need a more unified approach, speaking as one to achieve our collective ambition. AIS members and AIS member countries can work together and with other multilateral partners to facilitate greater transformation and a deeper integration for archipelagic states. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grace. You still have 2 minutes, Mr. Grace, but let me ask with the following question, okay? Because you have some strong message, I try to highlight. First one, you mentioned, you emphasize that it's time regional platform in terms of AIS forum need to be strengthened and institutionalized. That's the first strong message. And the second message is concrete steps, including in tourism industry, by recognizing and appreciating the more or less tourism sector in every AIS economies. So talking about the importance of global or regional partnership for island countries, or especially about the AIS forum, how can the strategic direction of economic development for multiple island countries aligned through global or regional cooperation? What's your argument, Mr. Grace?
Thank you. As I've mentioned earlier, this is an opportunity that AIS has provided. I think if we are going to discuss a little bit on the new normal, which is also an important aspect, I think we need to define new normal on a sector by sector scale, because all sectors are being affected, all countries are being affected, regardless of our sizes, regardless of the capacity that we have. And therefore, it is very important that such platform as this that has been established by the AIS gives us this opportunity for us to collaborate deeper. If it is sector-based, if it is thematic-based, I think if we argue the new normal, we need to also look at the existing structures pre-COVID-19. If we are to map it from pre-COVID-19 to post-COVID-19, I think it's important to weigh the balance and also maintain the structures that have worked during the pre-COVID-19 period. Now we are all struggling collectively. The whole world is struggling towards a new normal. How that comes out and how that is defined, I think there's a lot of room to explore. There's a lot of opportunities to explore. There are a lot of areas and elements and characteristics that are different from region to region and country by country, and also the principles and the focus of each organization. So pre-COVID-19 structures and post-COVID reconstruction. I think it is very important that we also look at these dynamics of trying to merge the two to ensure that not all is lost, but at the same time, new structures are constructed or reconstructed, and also the old ones are modified to accommodate what we argue to be a new norm. So I think that really generally applies to small island developing states or the developed countries. And then we can find some a meet section where we can also meet and share this knowledge and information and deepen our collaboration. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Grace. Now we are moving to last but not least, analyst Mr. Riyad Medeb, Senior Principal Advisor for Small Island Developing States at UNDP Headquarters, United States. Mr. Riyad is the Senior Principal Advisor for Small Island Developing State, or SIDS, in UNDP, and he led the development of the corporate UNDP SIDS offer, Rising Up for SIDS, and Mr. Riyad has over 20 years of experience in sustainable development and economic using on technical cooperation and policy advisory support to government, especially in Africa, Arab states, and Asia and Pacific region. Mr. Medeb, virtual stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Good evening, good morning to all of you. Thank you to the AIS secretaries for inviting me to participate to this panel. First of all, let me say a few things. It was repeated by several colleagues, but several interlocutors. The one thing which is very important with the COVID-19 when it's affecting the small island developing states, most of them are quite vulnerable to climate change, which is very classical, but also they are importers of energy, which cost usually to the average for the states 30% of their GDP is huge. They are strongly linked to tourism, which represent in average between 20 to 97%. For example, in Seychelles, 60% of GDP. Aruba is 97.3% of the GDP. So it depends on the different countries. But the lockdown affected heavily all the economies because it slowed down the possibility of having foreign exchange, new financial resources. It slowed down also the remittances. If you see the latest report of the World Bank on the issue, in the small island developing state is more than 20%, which is reduced. Some solutions were provided, like in the case of Fiji, through our program with UNCDF and UNDP, where we deleted all the costs of transfer of the remittances. But one thing which is very important for us, I think, we talk about the diversification. I push much more in terms of the future of the small island developing state, about transformation of the economies of developing states. This is a huge opportunity for the economies to be less vulnerable to external shocks. Let's take the examples. For the moment, the tourism, we are not sure that it's coming back immediately. It will take quite a lot of time. A lot of transport companies are bankrupt. The reality is that 2 weeks ago, IATA has released a report where they informed by 31st of December, they think that is around 20% of all the flight will be back. 20% is really little. So we should not think that we're going to have a strong return of tourism. Same thing for the cruise ship. This is just human being. Let's think about it. A lot of them will not want to put the foot in a boat. That's true that I'm describing something complicated, something a little bit dark, but it is an opportunity for us to support the small island developing state in order for them to transform their economies. That's what UNDP is doing currently by lending foundations to recovery in investing in 3 main pillars. The first pillar is the climate action. Our interlocutor has said from the beginning, from the Pacific Island Forum, that climate is one of the key elements. 1 month ago, the Small Island Developing State organized a Placencia Ambitious Forum, where they raised with the Secretary General the importance that within the COVID-19, we need to continue to invest on climate. And this is what we are currently doing in UNDP with all the partners, is to invest in 3 areas of climate action. The first one is energy transition, where we want to have more than 6 million people in small island developing states, which represent 10% of total population of small island developing states, to have access to more renewable energy. We be supporting, of course, adaptation, nature-based solution. The second element is on the blue economy. And the approach on the blue economy for UNDP is extremely clear, because for us, the blue economy is the sustainable use of the ocean resources for economic growth, jobs, and social and financial inclusion, but with a focus on one thing which is very important. One is the preservation, as well restoration of the health of the ocean ecosystem. And if you see what represent now the global contribution of the ocean economy is around $2 trillion per year, which is around 360 million jobs. This is a very key element. They are not small island developing states, they are clearly large ocean states. The third element that we think that it will help to transform the economy post-COVID is the investment in digital transformation. We like to all the small island developing state to embrace the fourth industrial revolutions. And there are quite a number of sectors that can be developed during that time. If we see clearly that most of the small island developing states are importing their food, there's a possibility of investing in vertical farming and digital farming. We have developed through our policy center in Singapore quite a number of partnerships in order to support the small island developing state to be able to produce more food. That will impact, first of all, the job market. Second, diversifying in terms of job market, going to the digital farming. Third, it will improve nutrition. Fourth, it will help, if there's a return of tourism, and especially ecotourism, a better integration of tourism to national economies. So that is one of the examples that we can do in digital transformation. The cross-cutting pillar that we think is very important is access to finance. And as you may know, that if you take into account the 38 small island developing states, 9 of them are high-income countries, 27 of them are middle-income countries, 1 of them is low-income countries. The majority of them, which is 71% of them, do not have access to concessional funding, which is one of the main recommendations of the Samoa pathway. And how can we help those countries? Even if we develop the best recovery plan, the main issue is to have access to funding to be able to implement those new plan and this new development plan.
Right,
So,
Mr.
Yes.
Yes, we try to get all your points about diversification, and then interested to talk about the program from UNDP itself about supporting the climate action and the blue economy, and suggesting for the diversification, including investing for digital farming, because it can attract the ecotourism. I would like to go to His Excellency Stephen Borg, because I am informed that Mr. Borg should leave early. I'll go back to you, Mr. Riyad Medeb. From our discussion for today, we can have the heavy bottom line about tourism, Mr. Borg, and maybe you have mentioned before, Malta already open for the 9 countries for tourism. How about the rest countries, especially in the AIS forum? Maybe you can share the policy of protocol related to tourism, so we can enlarge the collaboration, start with the concrete action.
Thank you. No, Malta has not yet opened its borders yet. It will do so on the 1st of July to 9 destinations which we agreed are safe corridors. A decision on other destinations will be taken in due course upon the advice of the health authorities. It is, of course, a very health-oriented decision. And of course, protocols are being put in place to be able to resume such travel and inject some momentum in our tourism industry. I'd like to, however, very briefly make 2 points which were also referred to by the previous speakers. First of all, international collaboration. Yes, small island states differ, and island states differ in terms of size, characteristics, population density, economic capacity, and so on. However, we believe there are certain commonalities, and we do need to speak with one voice as much as possible. And in this respect, the AIS Forum offers a very important platform for all of us to be able to strengthen collaboration and exert influence on a number of areas, especially in the multilateral sphere in the UN. In this regard, Malta has been appointed as co-chair of the Steering Committee on Partnerships for Small Island Developing States, SIDS, in January 2020. And we intend to use this platform to launch new partnerships, especially in 2 prioritized areas: lessons learned from the pandemic and building resilience in tourism as a vital economic sector. And of course, I've heard what my previous speakers said about transforming the economy, which is important, but tourism does remain an important sector for us. The second point, which I would like to make, and very important to the AIS, considering the initiatives being launched today, concerns capacity development and research. This is for us of a special importance in being able to address the challenges we have ahead of us, and in particular on the nexus between maritime governance, science, climate change. And in this respect, we would like very much the opportunity and the possibility that's being offered by the AIS to strengthen these academic research networks, which are of specific interest to island states and small island states and their challenges and opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Mr. Stephen Borg, for the conclusion from the Malta. And then I'm going to follow up the discussion, go back to Mr. Riyad Medeb. Mr. Riyad Medeb, can you continue about the idea of let's wait about technical cooperation and policy advisory, I think, because as it mentioned by Mr. Grace earlier, that we need the concrete action. You can share your capacity about the technical cooperation and policy advisory that should be built among the AIS economies. Please.
Okay, one of the main issue regarding the small island developing states and cooperation is the fact that we build within UNDP a very close network where there is an exchange between all the small island developing states in terms of best practices. There are things that which are happening now in the small island developing states. Let's take an example of Barbados. We were able through our accelerator lab, because one of the previous discussion was about innovation in small island developing states, when our resident representative in Indonesia was talking the importance of innovation. We have put in place 10 accelerator labs in the small island developing states. And some of them were able to develop new platform for e-commerce for fishermen in, for example, in Barbados that can be replicated in other countries. This is a way of doing things completely differently and looking at new opportunities. The idea for us is not just talking about the vulnerabilities of the small island developing state, but the small island developing state has also a lot of opportunities in terms of development. And that's why we can see them as a incubator of innovation. There are many of innovation happening in the small island developing states. There are other issues which are related to renewable energy. For example, with our partnership with ARENA, we have launched in September the ARENA, the International Organization for Renewable Energy. We have launched in September at the Climate Summit, the Investment Climate Platform, which is a partnership approach helping countries to transition to renewable energy. For example, what we said previously about having an opportunity in vertical farming and digital farming. Yes, it's very important. It's possible in small and developing states in one condition. You need to have a lot of energy. And that is something where you need to have energy will help you to develop other sectors than what you're having currently. But one main thing that I was saying previously, that the fact that the majority, 71% of the countries are middle income countries in the small and developing states, and they don't have access to concessional funding. One of the main solutions that they can have, and in the last conference last week on the financing for development, is putting in place a multidimensional vulnerability index reflecting the specificity of the small island developing state. That will make completely a real difference for them to have access to concessional funding and to be able to fund their future development.
Thank you, Mr. Riyad Mereb. Now we are going to answer all of your questions. I have received some questions, so let's start directly for the question to Mr. Isaac Grace. It comes from Nadine from Humanities Guahan. The question is, how are you engaging citizens at the community level, participate and feel connected in this movement? How are you highlighting indigenous knowledge relating to the ocean by island nation on a global scale as solution to this pressing issue? Because according to the question, that's something I've been working on in my own small island community here in Micronesia. Thank you. Please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the question. It's quite an extensive question as well, very practical and very pragmatic. I think I'll refer to some of the comments and some of the explanations that were alluded to by Mr. Riyad Mereb. And I think some of the work that they are doing as well, it trickles down to that level of community improvement of quality of living and standards of life and what have you. It can be multiple level, and with that comes the necessity of extensive collaboration. It's not only the government that is working in that space, but there are other players that are also involved in that space, which comes with also certain levels of of technical expertise and also resources and the sustainable approach, the planning, and what is important is what we are facing now, and also how are we going to develop what we maybe call a new normal moving forward. I think this kind of platforms, it comes back to the theme, the 4 themes that AIS is a champion of. Those 4 themes are strongly linked to the questioner's main point of how the local communities are being are benefiting from this. So it goes back to that, and also the platform like this where we all come together and we discuss issues, we discuss what we're doing where, and we discuss the future plans, and from here onwards, then we can take steps of engaging outside this forum to also try and work together in those spaces. But the questioner also referred to this movement. I'm not really sure whether this movement as in the AIS movement or this movement as in the effort to collectively consolidate our resources and efforts to manage the impact of COVID-19. But either way, I think it's still important to come down to the very essence of this gathering, is that collaboration and cooperation still remains very important moving forward. It affects all areas of social life, and it promotes our economic recovery efforts. Thank you.
So how about for the indigenous issue, Mr. Isaac Grace?
Yes, thank you. For the indigenous issues, there are also institutions, there are NGOs, there are people working in those spaces. There are programs that are being also targeted or designed to benefit indigenous communities in living along the coastal areas, those who are in small, medium enterprises as well. There are also programs that are available by different actors, as I referred to earlier on. The governments have their own programs that are targeting these indigenous communities and other communities as well. But at the same time, there are institutions, which is what I referred to in my earlier discussion, the existing structures pre-COVID-19. What was the success stories from those models? What were being achieved from those models? And now we are looking forward to post-COVID. What are the constructions or the reconstructions post-COVID, so that we can merge these 2 realms and work together? I think it will, if we find common spaces to identify the strengths and the possibilities and the opportunities and bring our resources together, I think it'll enable us to extend our tentacles and touch all communities, indigenous and those who live by the coastal areas, those who are in SMEs and creative economies, and the benefits can ripple from there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Isaac Grace. The next question is for Mr. Ambassador Solomara. So, yes.
Apologies on behalf of Mr. Ambassador Solomara. He had to leave. It's almost 5 p.m. in Fiji, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, we will go to the next question for Mr. Riyad Medeb. It comes from Marves, Grandis Nambaban. Question is: archipelagic island will always be vulnerable, and this condition will never change. However, they can do things to mitigate the risk of being harmed by external shocks by increasing their resilience. While vulnerability is inherent to archipelagic island states, the question is what AIS forum strategies can be put, the question means in 5 years from now, in place to mitigate the risk of being harmed by external shocks by increasing their resilience. Please, Mr. Riyad Medeb.
Thank you very much for the question. Difficult for me to respond on behalf of AIS, but knowing that one of the 3 priorities is on the blue economy, I do not think that vulnerability is only what is representing the small island developing state. I do think mostly in the case of the blue economy is an opportunity. You know that the small island developing state control 19.2% of all the exclusive economic zone, which represent 26 million square kilometers. So this is something very important. So it's, for me, that's where you can have a huge opportunity. UNDP is currently having a portfolio in blue economy in the small island of states. It's around $128 million, and we're increasing by next year by $85 million. This is where we can support the small island developing states, really taking into account their opportunities in terms of development. The blue economy, as I said, goes from fishery, sustainable fishery, aquaculture, ecotourism, energy in the blue economy. So this is where I think AIS can more invest in the future for the small island developing states. Vulnerability is not the only problem. The most important thing is how we can develop and transform those vulnerabilities on opportunities, and how we can take this crisis to be an opportunity for transforming our development. The big program that we are currently putting in place in the small island developing state with a portfolio of $1.1 billion is mostly on the climate action, on energy transition and adaptation. This is where we are investing. This is where we're going to work closely with AIS.
Thank you, Mr. Riyad Mere, for the optimistic point of view. Instead of being vulnerable, so let's get be resilient, yeah, by from the situation of being vulnerable. So we still have the question. I think this is the last question for Mr. Tantali, because I have to check the time first. Mr. Tantali, I have the question from Rahmawati from Central Bank of Indonesia. The question is, what is your plan to restart the fishery sector in Madagascar? And how do you think integrating digital technology can enhance it in the future? Yes, Mr. Tantali. So what is your plan to recover the fishery sector post COVID-19? And maybe you have the idea to combine with something innovation in digital technology so far in Madagascar.
We cannot sell, the fishermen cannot sell their product, and they had to keep them and to dry them and to keep, because the road is not yet open. There are barriers, and they cannot, from the coast, they cannot go to the capital, the island, the land inside. So there is that way there is a big problem for this, and we had to make to open the confinement.
Yes, Mr. Stanley. And how about the idea of using the digital technology? Is there any best practice maybe that is already being practiced now in Madagascar, related especially to the aquaculture or fishery sector?
Yes, we have aquaculture for the fishing, and they are well developed, because Madagascar is an island, and there are water for this, and the government try to help the fishermen to make the aquaculture.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tantali. So before we close our discussion, I think I have a final question for three of the panelists before the closing statement. So after we talk about the opportunities between the AIS economies, I think we would like to also address about the biggest obstacles to realizing the full potential of the blue economy for island states. So maybe it's just like collecting the reminder for us, what is the biggest obstacles right now for that purpose? So maybe we can start from Mr. Isaac Rees. Mr. Isaac Rees, can you share what is your argument about biggest obstacles?
Yeah, thank you. I think there is multiple areas to consider when we are talking about obstacles. Again, if we limit the conversation within the AIS community or island states, then I think there are some commonalities in terms of the obstacles. But then again, we have to look at it nation by nation as well, and also the characteristics and all the other details that is native to all these other countries. But it is important to note that the common thread of our conversation today really picks up on some of the common themes, like regional partnership and also establishing the funding mechanism or innovative funding mechanisms. Then we have technology as well, the use of technology, the creation of new apps, and the development of new ways to communicate, like for this session. And also we have the importance of R&D, data, and as we all know, the importance of data that will help us to make decisions. We have policy issues. There are policies that are maybe not relevant. Maybe we have archaic policies that need to be modified and need to change. Or there may be, there's a need to introduce new policies to be able to respond and accommodate the current developments and also the challenges that we are facing. And reforms that are important to bring about effective mechanisms so that we can implement what we plan for much more effectively, and leadership. So I think all these other elements, all these elements contribute to the collective argument of not only obstacles, but looking at it from another angle. What are some of the strengths that we can tap into to make sure that we achieve our goals and objectives? Thank you.
Okay. Noted, Mr. Isaac Rees, 4 points: new apps, R&D data, policy or a new policy, and then the last one is about the effective mechanism. So let's move to Mr. Riyad Mered. So what is the biggest obstacle? Now we have to realize that we can still, with your optimistic point of view, we can still get up and being resilient economy.
Thank you. I like when you say about the optimistic point of view. I think, you know, the main obstacles for realizing the blue economy potential is, one of them is the ocean acidification, which costs around $1.2 trillion a year. The second thing that I think is an obstacle is the invasive aquatic species, which costs around $100 million a year. And finally, the overfishing, and that is something very important, which costs around $83 billion a year. That are very strong obstacles to the blue economy. The opportunities for responding to that, there are many Pacific countries, for example, if you take Palau, who decided to protect 80% of its EEZ. If you hear that 2 weeks ago, Seychelles decided to protect 30% of its EEZ. This is a way for them, not only protecting environment, to finding new opportunities for the coastal communities, but also possibility of developing another kind of tourism, mostly ecotourism, mostly high-end tourism close to the nature. And close to the nature because this pandemic sent us one message. You destroy the nature responds to you. So let's listen to the nature and let's continue a new development close to the nature than just pursuing productivity.
Thank you. Strong message. Destroy the nature will respond to you. So for the final round, now I would like to ask in a short and compact closing statement from each panelist about the positive spirit collaboration between the AIS economy. So I would like start with Mr. Tantley. What is your closing remark for our fruitful discussion? Please, Mr. Tantley.
So, yes, I think it's a very good things for the AIS, as Madagascar is an island, and we for this obstacle, we tell to everybody, every country, to bear in mind as a common vision for the collaboration for resilient island economy, health, and environment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tansley. And for the closing remark statement from Mr. Isaac Rees, the short and compact closing statement so we can all remember after our discussion.
Thank you. I guess for us, it's a continuous engagement, and what's next for AIS and its members, and how we can collate all the lessons that and the issues that we have discussed in this forum, and make sure that it is consumable and shared broadly, and also we are able to implement for significant changes on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, Mr. Riyad Medha, please, your short and compact closing statement, maybe to emphasize again the importance of innovation and digital technology that you have mentioned before.
One thing which is very important is not try to focus only on the vulnerability, but please focus on the opportunities of development in the small island developing states. And that is something very important. Second element is the cooperation between seeds, not South-South. We talk about small island to small island. Some of them are incubators of innovation, and they can be implemented in other countries in order for them to transform their development.
Thank you, Mr. Riyad Medha. So on that optimistic note from all the panelists, it concludes our fruitful talk show and discussion today on fostering collaboration for resilient island economies. Resilient, not resilient, resilient island economies. So before we close our event, allow me to highlight again the two keywords, innovation and resilient, as our magic word today, as our mantra. Innovation through joint research program, innovator scholarship, and AIS. Innovation Challenge 2020 will significantly contribute to the stage of resilient island economies. On behalf of AIS Forum, thank you for all the panelists and for all of you, all of the audience, for being virtually here today with us. We really appreciate your attendances, your question and participation. We look forward to seeing you on the next event of AIS Forum. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome.
In the year 2017, the Archipelagic and Island States Forum initiated. The Archipelagic and Island States Forum, or AIS Forum, is a designated platform to include 47 archipelagic and island nations focused in 4 thematic areas. Those are climate change mitigation and adaptation, blue economy, marine plastic debris, and good maritime governance. AIS Forum Secretariat has developed 3 programs that encourage innovations through research and development and entrepreneurship. Those are Joint Research Program, the Innovators Scholarship Program, and Innovation Challenge. We believe that the academicians play a big role in advancing R&D. Thus, we initiated the Joint Research Program between academic institutions to come up with breakthrough ideas that could bring benefit to AIS participating countries. In the second program, we will bring talented individuals through the Innovator Scholarship Program to come up with innovations that contribute to the economy of AIS countries. The scholarship program is a partnership between AIS Forum with universities from archipelagic and island countries. Last, in the light of COVID-19 pandemic, it is important for archipelagic and island states to have a resilient economy. Therefore, AIS Forum Secretariat introduces the Innovation Challenge, an idea competition to find business solutions that can help companies and societies at large withstand a crisis situation. Many solutions to challenges that affect AIS participating countries in 4 main thematic areas and SDG 14 goals are produced through collaboration programs. These programs will explore opportunities through innovation and experiment that benefits on a local, regional, and international scale through sharing knowledge and experiences between AIS participating countries. In the year 2017, the Archipelagic and Island States Forum initiated. The Archipelagic and Island States Forum, or AIS Forum, is a designated platform to include 47 archipelagic and island nations focused in 4 thematic areas. Those are climate change mitigation and adaptation, blue economy, marine plastic debris, and good maritime governance. AIS Forum Secretariat has developed 3 programs that encourage innovations through research and development and entrepreneurship. Those are Joint Research Program, the Innovators Scholarship Program, and Innovation Challenge. We believe that the academicians play a big role in advancing R&D. Thus, we initiated the Joint Research Program between academic institutions to come up with breakthrough ideas that could bring benefit to AIS participating countries. In the second program, we will bring talented individuals through the Innovators Scholarship Program to come up with innovations that contribute to the economy of AIS countries. The scholarship program is a partnership between AIS Forum with universities from archipelagic and island countries. Last, in the light of COVID-19 pandemic, it is important for archipelagic and island states to have a resilient economy. Therefore, AIS Forum Secretariat introduces the Innovation Challenge, an idea competition to find business solutions that can help companies and societies at large withstand a crisis situation. Many solutions to challenges that affect AIS participating countries in 4 main thematic areas and SDG 14 goals are produced through collaboration programs. These programs will explore opportunities through innovation and experiment that benefits on a local, regional, and international scale through sharing knowledge and experiences between AIS participating countries.